and welcome to the TTV podcast episode. I don't know.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Wow.
Oh wait, I forgot.
Hey.
I'm Var.
I'm Takuma. Am I second?
I don't
I'm
know.
Takuma.
Yeah.
Wow.
What the
How did I
heck?
get to second?
I'm Invi.
How did you get this?
Excuse you, I'm Prpl, and I go before you.
I thought I heard you say your name.
I
and no,
didn't
you
say
don't.
my name!
Stop
Trooper,
fighting!
what's up?
Hey, Axe. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man.
It's
I'm doing all right. Just like Takuma,
it's
you're
like
about
Bar
to-
and the Noobs or something. I don't know.
Var the noobs. What's up, everybody? I'm the only
so
experienced one
disorderly.
here. If you wouldn't,
You're
you
what?
couldn't tell by my handling of this anyway. Today we're gonna be talking about Solo, everybody. Just so you're aware, we're gonna be talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, which you probably haven't because it's been doing financially terrible in the box office, go see
Really?
it if you want to watch this podcast. And if you don't, then go away.
No.
We'll say though that
Yeah.
there isn't a lot to spoil though.
This movie is
keep that
literally
in mind.
exactly what you think it's gonna be.
Han Solo and Chewbacca do in fact die. It's a shame.
They definitely die. The Millennium Falcon
Spoilers, dude.
is definitely destroyed. Never comes back ever again.
Yeah, and then they get the Infinity Gauntlet, and then they resurrect it.
Yeah, that is a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess to start things off, how did you guys feel about the movie?
I actually liked it way more than I was expecting I would. Like, the
Same.
story was very meh, but, like, it
I don't
was
know
still
that I
really
liked
fun
it
to watch.
way more than I expected, but I did like it more than I expected going into it.
Yeah,
I
same.
expected
Mhm.
so little, so I don't know if my
It's like,
expectations,
is it really good if your expectations were garbage to begin with? You know?
or if you just didn't have any at all.
Yeah.
I knew it would be at least okay, and I walked out liking it a lot more than I thought I would. And that's a great thing.
I didn't.
I
think
did
that
enjoy
could
it.
make. I didn't think that I would hate it. That's for sure. I thought it was going to be completely
Yeah.
fine, middle of the road movie, and that's exactly what I got. So I can't say that I was disappointed. I will say that I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like I needed to see the movie, and I didn't feel like I was going to feel like that going into it too. I felt like it was going to be one of those movies that I just didn't need to see. So when I went to it, I saw it, came out thinking, "Yep, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be." It was a movie. It was good. It was well executed, but it really doesn't do anything in terms of like adding to the Star Wars franchise for me.
Mhm.
It's just a movie.
Not really.
Yeah, I could probably have gone my whole life without seeing it. So that's how I
Yeah.
felt about it, basically.
I was expecting to be, like, super bored throughout the whole movie, and while there were some, like, parts that were kind of slow and stuff, I still thought it was pretty entertaining.
Mhm.
Like, enjoyable and stuff.
Yeah.
Enjoyable and stuff.
Are there any
Yeah.
aspects of it that really stuck out to you guys?
Freaking
It was very
castle
cheesy.
run escape scene. Oh my gosh.
The castle
That's
run was
cool.
pretty cool. That was pretty.
The part at the end with the maw was
Oh my gosh.
that was a neat visual spectacle.
Yeah, that did look really cool. The mall, the whole like alien aspect of that was really awesome. It kind of reminded me of
So
like, the
creepy
giant,
when the alien got freaking like ripped apart and
Yeah.
like
Getting
its
gloved?
skin. Yeah,
That was a good touch.
saw its skull. Oh my god, that was so creepy. I love it.
Yeah,
That was
I
pretty
did like
cool.
that. It reminded me of those like giant CGI monsters in the prequels, but done like better. So,
Yeah.
it was neat.
I mean, my feelings on the movie I kind of summed up on Twitter afterwards. That was good. It was better than I expected. The sticking point for me will always be that Alden never will make me think of Han Solo or Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
it
was a good movie,
big thing.
But I didn't feel like I was watching a Han Solo movie. I felt like I was watching a random other guy who meets up with Chewbacca and Lando and Millennium Falcon and all that movie.
Lando was convincing, but like
Lando was
Han,
perfect.
Han
Han
Solo
Duo.
is such an iconic character, and like
Hmm.
he has a really complicated role because he needs to play a guy that's playing another guy. You know,
Yeah.
and like everyone is very familiar with what they like with Han Solo, so it's very hard to sort of break from the mold that like, oh, this is not Harrison Ford, but this is Han Solo, and that's very hard to convince people.
Right.
Yeah, I actually kind of really like this Han Solo more.
Yeah.
He was like not a jerk, and he was like I don't know.
That's
that's
the thing, though.
I don't know.
That was the
Cute.
problem.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
know.
I liked
the
him
movie-
more. I don't think I liked him more than Harrison Ford. I will say that I liked him, and I liked him more than I thought I was going to. Especially with all the rumors that they had to hire like an acting coach for him and everything. I was expecting
Yeah.
like just a travesty, but he was fine. I thought he was great in the role. And
He's like more sympathetic and stuff.
he is more sympathetic, which kind of doesn't make any sense given
That's
the context of like the story and when it takes
Yeah.
place in his life. He should be less sympathetic at this point.
the character seems. It seems or not the character, but it seems like they confused the character or something. It's like because the whole part of this whole movie, the kind of feeling we're getting is that everyone's like, "Oh, Han Solo is a hero type." That is not at all what we saw of him. You know, in episode 4, episode 5, he was always out for himself, and I could almost buy like, okay, maybe they're trying to go for an angle where like he started out being this hero type, but because of life and circumstances, he went down the more roguish sort of
It feels kind
look out for
of
number one type thing.
Sad.
But that it felt like they were flip flopping back and forth to me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's the hero type, but then it's like at the end, which I will admit I liked how subtle it was, but they very pointedly said Han Solo shoots first.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great
That's
scene.
not in line with he's the hero type character though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, in terms of him acting and him being Solo, there were definitely several moments in the movie where I was like, if this was Harrison Ford, he would have delivered that line differently. So I did get that, but at the same time, I do feel like if he was just playing like an imitation of Harrison Ford the entire time, it wouldn't have been as, I don't know, entertaining to watch. Like, I enjoy seeing a different take on the character with a different person who's kind of doing his own thing. He's still kind of doing the Harrison Ford thing, but I didn't feel like he was trying too hard to stick to the Harrison Ford imitation.
Yeah. I
So-
think it probably would have turned out not that good if he was like doing that.
Yeah, agreed. So I appreciated the attempt at being a bit more original there. But yeah, in terms of the character of Han Solo, yeah, it's strange. It doesn't make any sense at all why he's so sympathetic here. And I could see it like how you mentioned, like if they started out with him being sympathetic and then I don't know when the girlfriend gets like taken away, that's when he decides to go rogue and becomes kind of a jerk. Maybe, but him being so
Also
sympathetic at the
kinda
start was kind of. It's also really
little
convenient that he
cheesy.
happened to start the rebellion. He just kind of like he happened to fund the first like inklings of it that becomes the rebellion, and it's just like, all right, well,
I wouldn't
that's
say he started the rebellion, but
well, yeah, okay, yeah, I know, but like
I get what you're saying though. Yeah.
it was kind of a weird moment because it's like I don't know if that happened within the canon of the story, you would think in like
Hold up a second.
Sure.
Have any of you guys watched Rebels, the
No.
TV show?
no, I am not.
No.
I've
Okay,
only seen
because
clips from it.
that is about the start of the rebellion, and so okay, big spoiler warning. At the end of the movie, we see Darth Maul, and he's got his robotic legs and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember. I'm a little behind on Rebels. I think maybe one season, but like Darth Maul first shows up in Rebels. That's where we actually see his return. And initially, he was like this, almost like a robotic centipede type thing going on, or whatever. It was super creepy. But now
that was in Clone Wars though. We saw him
that was in
first
Clone
time.
Wars. I thought that was
Yeah, I mean,
Rebels.
No, he
In
was
Clone
introduced
Wars-
in Clone Wars.
Yeah, in Clone Wars we see him with the spider legs, and later in
Oh.
Rebels we see
Okay,
him
never
with
mind.
He's in
humanoids,
both.
robotic legs.
He's in both shows. So
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. It's been a while since I watched any of it. I completely confused it. Okay, so now I'm not going to try and figure out how they line up.
yeah, it's a little strange to me too. I'm not really sure how they line up, and I haven't watched the show, so I don't know all that much.
You really
So-
should. Clone Wars was decent. Rebels is good.
I've heard the exact opposite.
Ah!
Really?
I've heard
Yeah,
that Clone
I've
Wars
heard
is really
more
good, and that Rebels
bad
is
stuff
pretty
about Rebels.
disappointing.
Rebels is like a huge narrative mess and like invalidates a lot of it's a mess. Let's just not. We're here to bash Solo today, you know. Let's do that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bash Solo.
What I was saying
was really-
was- oh, sorry.
Like it was really cheesy because they had to sort of include. They sort of had like a checklist of like so many things that they've like talked about so many times. So they're doing like the Kessel Run, the small dices. They're even like, hey, we need to figure out a backstory as to like why Han Solo can go through like really tight spaces, with starting with like the speeder at first, you know, and like the name Solo, like we really did not need. We really did not need that.
I
Like,
thought it was cute.
I thought
I
it
would
was
have been.
I didn't
incredibly
mind
cheesy.
it.
I liked it.
It was better when Solo was a name and not an adjective.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I put my
I'm not a
thoughts
fan of that.
about that in our private chat, but personally speaking, I of all the things that I feel like this movie gave a bit too much like nodding towards, I felt like that one was the one I was like, yeah, I kind of like that one. I think the way they did it was kind of clunky, with like the Imperial dude just kind of going, Solo. That was kind of stupid, but I like kind of getting that origin of the name and like having that be like a big part of the movie, because I feel like it gives a bit more credence to the title of the movie. Obviously it's about Solo, but like just having that last name Solo, I think that's kind of neat. And I like how it sort of symbolizes his like loss, like after he's with this Kira person for so long, and then she's separated from him.
How do you spell Kira? Because I thought it was like Death Note, where it's like Kira.
no, it's a Q. It's like super Star Wars fancy. One thing that I thought was really weird though was just, or it was actually pretty cheesy as well, was the like two characters in the movie had to die just to like get the point across that like Han Solo is a good pilot. Like the first guy called Rio, I think he's like very
Yeah, I didn't like how those two died. They were
and it's like, oh, you're a really great pirate. Oh,
you really are.
And then the same thing happens again with the robot. The robot dies, and then they're just like, oh, we need you. And they're like, oh, you're a great pilot. Wow.
Lando's too distracted.
It's like, we get it. Han Solo's a great pilot.
Just let him drive. Yeah. What'd you guys think of the robot?
I had mixed feelings. Like sometimes I really liked her voice, and sometimes she was funny, but I feel like they kind of overdid the whole aspect with her.
I think it was perfect, because just to the point where she was getting really annoying, she dies. Okay, that's good.
I've
just
actually-
at my tipping point.
I've seen a lot of criticism of that character, saying like they've added an SJW character into Star Wars, and how it's just like it's typical Disney trying to do that thing that they always do. But I actually like,
I didn't get that vibe.
I interpreted that kind of differently. It didn't seem like they were trying to make
comical to me.
Yeah, it was more of a criticism of an SJW character than anything that I felt.
It fitted in universe. I didn't like it that much, but it wasn't like a huge stretch to include her.
I think they were intentionally making her kind of annoying. I don't think that I don't think that she was a character they were trying to make likable.
That seems narratively that just seems lazy, because to make an annoying character, you don't need to make them actually annoying. You just need to make it so that other characters find the character annoying.
I
I thought it was like a character.
They didn't go for it either.
She didn't have that much time to speak, so I didn't mind the over-the-top aspect to some of what she was saying, and I think it got the message across, whatever we can translate it into modern society and apply. But I thought it was fine, because it wasn't that much screen time.
I felt like a lot of the weirdness of that character was intentional. Like a lot of the things that people didn't like about it was like things that like they were trying to do. Like I saw a review that was saying like how it was kind of funny that L3 died, and I was like, for me it came off as that was kind of intentional. It was kind of intentionally making this character being really annoying, and when they get killed off, it's kind of humorous. Like it's sad for Lando, but it's still kind of the situation. It's kind of bizarre and funny. I thought they were playing that up really well with Lando, and his like he's got this like clear kind of like relationship with the robot, but I never felt like the movie was trying to make it seem like this is a normal thing, you know? It felt like they were kind of making fun of the situation.
I felt it was much for comedic value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. So a lot of reviews have been making it like this movie's trying to, it's got some kind of objective or something, and I never felt that. So.
I like the nod to the old trilogy as well, because she becomes part of the Millennium Falcon's computer, and C-3PO in the old trilogy, he interacts with the computer on the ship, and he's like, it has a really funny accent, and I'm just like,
strange dialect.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. I didn't know that.
That's a really neat nod. So there was a lot of really fan servicey things throughout
Huh,
that entire movie.
that's neat.
Yeah,
I also really like Lando as a character. He was good. He didn't.
Oh my
really-
god, Lando was freaking
Lando
amazing.
was really good.
Lando.
He really didn't do anything in terms of like progressing the plot. He was kind of more of a joke character than anything, but I liked him a lot.
I mean, he had to be there because that's, we know that Lando is who Han got the ship from. But
Yeah, of course.
Dang it, Peel.
He was
Oh.
convincing.
Yeah, he was great. He did a great job of acting like Lando. And I liked the scene at the end with the gambling moment there. I thought that was cool. I thought they set that up really well. I liked that they didn't give, because I actually thought they were gonna give the Millennium Falcon to Han like halfway through the movie when they first did that thing, the dice roll there, and I was like, oh wow, it's
Yeah, no,
pretty
you
sick.
just
But then it was kind of more of a fake
freaking
out than
takes
anything.
it. That's so funny when they were like confronting the Marauder pirate people or whatever, and Han's like, "Oh, we got 30 trained men in that ship," and he just
He
flies
just
away.
bails.
That was very Marvel-esque. That felt very
Yeah.
Star-Lord.
It did. Yeah, it did.
I love Star-Lord.
Okay,
Also-
you can keep talking.
Oh, the Marauders were interesting. I like the one Marauder character a lot.
Yeah, I really liked her design.
Yeah, the
She's
one
pretty.
the scene where she like jumps down on, or not even when she jumps down. It's when what's his face? The old grumpy dude. What's
Yeah, nobody ever remembers his name.
Beckett?
I've noticed that.
Beckett,
Beckett,
yeah,
yeah.
Beckett.
Yeah.
And when
I
he
like
starts
that.
shooting at her, and then she like pulls up the shield and charges at him, that was cool. That was sweet. It was a really cool like hand to hand combat without a lightsaber.
Star
scene.
Wars accessories.
So she was cool. And I kind of like that she did have a cool design. She also had a very cool like presence. Even like when she takes off the helmet, her like actual face.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
was really unique.
unique freckles.
Yeah, that's actually what I was
Yeah.
referring to.
I
Really
She
really
has a
like
cool
that.
design. Her face.
cool,
Her
cool
face
natural
has cool
design.
design.
Props to her
I am
parent
a-
for aesthetics.
I'm a character designer, okay?
This is a person.
Props to her parents. Indeed.
Anyone who's a parent is a character
They-
designer. Let's be real.
Hey, nice.
That is
I
like,
like-
the single best argument I've ever heard to become a parent.
I'd like that she.
You kind of get random results though.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can really design it.
Well, you draw on your own inspirations.
He's
I
gotta
feel like
pick and choose. Sorry, what are you saying?
And for everything else, there's Build-A-Baby.
Nice.
Nice callback. I like it.
I feel like they're using the trying over our expectations with a masked character thingy. I feel like that's a trend coming on now because they did that with Kylo Ren and now they're like doing this again. So like next time we see like a masked villain looking character in a trailer, it's just like, oh, what's it gonna be this time? We'll have to wait and see.
I suppose. Although only 2 characters doesn't really seem like too much of a trend, but
Well, there was Leia in the
Or
original
standalone
trilogy
movies.
who was like pretending to be a bounty hunter to infiltrate Jabba the Hutt's place.
oh, that's true. I guess there is.
It's all
that kind
about
of a-
masks in Star Wars, man.
I love
There's a
masks,
precedent
though.
there. Huh?
Mask reveals are like the one trope I will never get sick of.
Mm. All right, well,
It was
time to
me
make a story all
all
about mask reveals.
OMG.
I will say though that like as a general consensus, I would say that like I enjoy this movie. Like speaking away from all the nerdy issues, I did actually enjoy this movie, and I would like recommend
Yeah.
people seeing it because I just like it's fun to watch.
It is.
Trooper,
Yeah.
did you
Yeah,
think
it's
it was
definitely a
better?
fun movie.
Did you think it was better than The Last Jedi?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
not even like that's the first thing that came to my mind. Just as I found out, like I liked the movie, I'm just like, yep, it's better than that. But opinions change. They're formed by experiences. So, maybe 20 years from now I'll have different take, but you never know.
I do think this is a better movie than The Last Jedi for sure. But I can't say that I like it more, which is weird because like I don't really like The Last Jedi and I do like this movie, but at the same time
They're very different movies.
They're different movies, yeah, and at the same time I feel like I don't know, someone on Twitter mentioned it on one of my tweets. I think it was Detonoglia Studios actually, or it might have been LQ. No, it was LQ. LQ had mentioned like how part of the reason why he doesn't like this movie or why he's disappointed in it was because it played it so safe, because it was just so, fine. It was perfectly fine, and that was the problem, is that it doesn't really do anything new or creative or really exciting. And I feel that. Like, I like the movie. It's fine, but I don't like...
But they just went down the checklist.
Yeah, it just went down the checklist. It was really well executed, but the premise is just kind of boring. I knew the premise was going to be boring going into it. I knew what to expect, and nothing surprised me. It was a really well-executed, bland story.
It feels more like a series of events than like a story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I thought it was going to be, which is exactly what it is, which is exactly what the premise was from the very beginning. So, I don't know. It's like, I like it. It's good, but I also don't like it. I feel like you can kind of hear it in the conversation too, like our podcast here. Like you can go and listen to our like Infinity War podcast, so you can hear just how excited we were to talk about that movie, how like enthralled with everything there was, all the things to talk about, all the cool elements to it. And then with this movie, it's just sort of like, it's good, it's fine.
Yeah, it's good. Woo.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like this.
woo.
But yeah, like I feel that though. It's like I like it, but I don't like it. So I don't know. At least with The Last Jedi, there was a lot to talk about, and
Yeah, it doesn't have the same amount of controversy.
Not a lot of it.
Well, I
Good,
mean,
but there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, but it's an event. It's fun. It's fun to discuss. Like the movie or not, it added a lot to the conversation. You could sit there and have a debate about the movie and what elements worked and what elements didn't, and what it added to the Star Wars franchise as a whole. This is just forgettable. It's like a movie you're really not going to remember in 30 years from now. I feel like The Last Jedi is going to have an impression on people for a very long time, even if it wasn't the perfect movie everybody wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
I
can see that.
it is kind of how I feel. So,
The Last Jedi is... for some reason, I really liked it when it came out, but the more that it gets debated and made fun of and discussed, the more that I feel like my opinion is sinking of it. And I feel like I really don't want to rewatch it for as much as I liked it. But Solo, I feel like I could rewatch way more likely than that, or even like Rogue One, and I liked Rogue One as well. So I don't know. I feel like it has some really good replay value. I feel like it's just like a lot more fun. It's not nearly as intense, not like so actiony as the rest. I guess there's more breathe time in between stuff going on.
I guess there's definitely that
Solo.
appeal to it. It's not like you don't feel like you're about, or that you have to prepare yourself for like an incoming wave of like negativity with this movie. It's a nice ride, soothing experience. You can enjoy it without anything ruining that. I get that.
I guess you also know the general outcome though. Like it's not like something is going to be totally ruined for you watching this movie. Like there's no, I mean, that Han Solo and Chewbacca make it out alive and stuff. So there's no matter what twists happen or whatever, it's just there's always going to be one singular outcome. But I did kind of I really felt a lot more invested in the characters too. Just overall, I like them all, and I cared about them more than even just Last Jedi and Rogue One. And it actually kind of hit me a little bit when Kira tells him to go off, and then she decides she's gonna, continue with the Crimson Dawn and stuff. I just felt bad. Like, dang, Han, that sucks. Like, I feel for you that like, I feel for her feeling like she has to carry it on. Like, she wants to be somewhere else, but she can't. And
yeah.
Dang, Han, that sucks.
Dang,
yeah,
that sucks.
Hit me in the feels more than the other two movies did, honestly.
Yeah. I do think that's part of the big issue with The Last Jedi in particular, is because like you have these characters that are great, and you want to see them in really good events, but the writer just didn't put them in that. They don't
No,
have anything to
Finn.
work with. So.
It's not how we win.
Okay, maybe except for Rose, not a great character there. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good movie. I liked Rogue One a lot more personally, but I also feel like Rogue One had like some really good scenes, especially like the Darth Vader scene at the end. That was awesome.
I feel like I don't really remember much about Rogue One other than like the scenery of like the final battle, like just that whole location with all the like tropical islands or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was very pretty and I liked it.
One thing we haven't talked about at all yet, well, not entirely at all, not his presence in the movie, was Darth Maul.
Darth Maul!
That was pretty cool. I will say that, so Meso had spoiled this for me prior to seeing the movie. I asked for it. I wanted to be spoiled. So he told me what was going on there. And I heard that Darth Maul was in the movie, and that actually did convince me to go see the movie. Because prior to that, I had zero interest in watching it at all. And hearing that Darth Maul was like the surprise twist, I was like, okay, I do kind of want to see how that's executed. That sounds really interesting. Gotta say,
call it a twist.
The premise or like the idea of Darth Maul being in the movie was a lot cooler than him actually being in the movie. Personally, I went to see it. I saw the scene and I was like,
there was no leading up to it. It's not like we even got little. What am I trying to say? Not teasers, but hints. We didn't get.
I liked that though. That was just all of a sudden.
They kind of did.
It just felt so.
Oh, you know who I have to report to.
It just felt very out of left field and almost shoehorned in.
Especially if you haven't really paid attention to any of the other Star Wars stuff and you're only going in from the movies, it's like it makes no sense at all.
If you didn't know beforehand, you're like, "What the freak?"
There's so many articles now. It's like, how Darth Maul is really alive, and they just
it's like, we've known this for ages, and that's kind of the thing I thought when that scene came up. I was like, for someone who hasn't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, this is probably just a real shocker. For me, it's just like, okay, it's neat to see Maul back on the big screen, I guess, but again, nothing in this movie. There was no reason for it to be him or for him to be there. They gave us nothing in this movie to make me believe that it should be him.
I don't know why, but it didn't occur to me that this movie takes place after the prequels. I don't really know why. I thought it was just like the same timeline or before it. It was like, oh, that's why Darth Maul is there. I was like, oh, wait. What?
It was out of left field. He felt shoehorned in. It could have been anyone. It could have been Jabba the Hutt. It could have been,
Yeah.
The fact that it was Maul just seemed like empty fan service.
Mm-hmm. And it was such it was a corny scene too.
Standpoint. He was trying to get like all the crime syndicates together.
Maybe I just don't remember that bit.
Is that what his goal was?
Yeah, that's why she like killed the guy. That was like her plan all along.
Last thing I saw of Darth Maul, he was on Korriban in a temple at the same time as Darth Vader, but I don't think they ever actually saw each other.
I don't know. I just like, I got to that scene and I was like, well, this is kind of weird and kind of out of left field and it's kind of cheesy and kind of corny and I don't really like the execution of the scene.
Just shoehorned in there, yeah.
I don't really know why he stood up and activated his lightsaber, I guess, to intimidate him, but it looked kind of silly. Or intimidate her, but it looked kind of silly. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea more than I actually liked seeing it in the movie, and I'm assuming this is setting up a sequel? Question mark.
I think it was a trilogy.
If he didn't show up again, it would make absolutely no sense to even throw him in there to begin with. Honestly.
Yeah, agreed. But at the same time,
definitely gotta come back.
It doesn't seem like there's gonna. I mean, obviously, I might be spitballing or like I don't know, but the movie doesn't seem to be doing well box office wise. So that's why I'm like, are they going to do?
Doesn't surprise me.
Are they going to do a sequel or are they not going to do a sequel? Because it seems like they set this up with the intention of there being more, but I kind of don't think there will be more.
Well,
how much did this movie cost?
I think
more than like both
million.
Infinity Wars.
It cost $200 million, I think.
No way it makes
sense. The big thing about box office is, like, there's a really weird question linger over this movie, and that is, who is this movie for?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who asked? Because no one really asked for this. That's like the
Yeah,
big
that's why the premise never interested me, because I sure as heck didn't ask for this. I don't want a Han Solo origin movie. I'm not really sure who did.
it just feels like the name,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I think theoretically it could have done better, but it just got a lot of bad word of mouth. Like, oh, why would I watch this? And there's no point in watching this. Oh, this guy's not like Han Solo, not worth watching it, and yada yada. I think just a lot of people talked it down, and I think that had a big effect on it.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. Princess in the chat mentioned how it's for the diehard Star Wars fans, and I wonder that.
But the diehard Star Wars fan didn't want a Han Solo backstory. They don't like that it invalidates.
We like mystery.
Hardcore fans don't like that it invalidates Han Solo because
my AU
Solo ends up with the rebellion despite him being a selfish scoundrel is a big thing. But in this movie, it's just no, he was the nice guy all along. That.
I don't know, I feel like the diehard Star Wars fans didn't want Disney to retcon 90% of Star Wars lore.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, yeah, because I don't know who this movie's for personally. It's to me, it doesn't seem like I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, so that's probably why. But it doesn't seem like this is something that diehard Star Wars fans would be that interested in. I get that it's an extra story or another chapter in the story, and that makes sense. And obviously the idea that you have to do your homework to really get the most out of this, the Darth Maul reveal would come as a shock to basically anyone who isn't a diehard Star Wars fan. But I don't know.
Just people who haven't watched Clone Wars and Rebels. Some people can't get past the art style.
Yeah.
Or the fact that it's a cartoon and OMG, it's for kids.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Because it just seems like if they were marketing this movie to the diehard Star Wars fans, then they would have expected that it's not going to make that much money, which makes it seem kind of strange that they threw $200 million at it. So.
Did it all just go to the effects in that Maw scene?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. I mean, this movie did have, it had its troubles being made. The director was switched.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of what happened.
And I'm sure a lot of the budget went into completely redoing it. So, I mean, maybe the budget that it ended up with was not what was planned. That would make a lot more sense. Of course, we wouldn't know that until they finally come out and tell us that's what happened. But I don't know. $200 million is a lot of money. It's definitely equivalent to a Marvel film, and it doesn't feel like this is the kind of movie I would have put that budget towards. So
doesn't feel that caliber.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very small scale story.
I wonder what they were thinking once the budget was racking up. I'm kind of thinking that one scene in Disaster Artist where Tommy Wiseau's I already spent $6 million on this movie. And then Greg's what? You've spent $6 million on this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it had the same feel with how much they were racking up with.
Well, it's clear that they didn't.
Movie.
They knew it wasn't going to do well. And it seems like they went out of their way to make sure it didn't do well. Because of the timing that they put it, this is an awful time to have released this movie. I don't know why they moved it to the summer and not kept it at December like every other Star Wars film. I don't know why they thought it would be a good idea to have it compete against Infinity War and Deadpool 2. And I don't know, it doesn't really seem like they've marketed this movie very well either.
Yeah.
So
the trailers weren't super good. Kind of took a while to finally get a trailer where we're all you know what? This actually doesn't look like it's going to be bad. For a while, we're just oh, this is probably going to suck.
Big shot gangster putting together a crew. You in? That's basically the whole trailer.
You in this life for good?
Big shot gangsters.
I think they did pretty good with the misdirection in the trailer, though. I did not expect that to just be a random comment at the end of the movie. The big shot gangster one. I thought that was going to be part of the actual plot at the start.
I don't even remember that line at this point.
Either.
It's at the end when Beckett's oh yeah, I'm going to take off now. There's a
right, okay.
Big shot gangster putting together a crew. Tatooine.
Oh.
Who was that supposed to be in reference to again?
Jabba.
Probably
Jabba.
Jabba.
Beckett?
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh
Big
yeah,
Shot Gangster.
Yeah,
at the
because
very-
he said he was going to
yeah.
Tatooine because there was a job
I'm just
there.
thinking of like the trailer remix where someone just have that like playing over, just him saying "Big Shot Gangster." Also, I really want
What,
a lot of
they have
people
that?
to watch this movie just so I can link them to a video of the trailer. But instead of having the normal trailer song, it's the Connect "I'm Han Solo," and it's just it fits so well, and it's hilarious. But like so many people I know won't watch trailers anymore because of spoilers, but they haven't watched it yet, so I can't see it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah.
Rip.
Oh look, Tommy Anderson's in the chat listening to this.
Hello.
Hi there, Tommy Anderson. He says, I don't think there'll be another solo movie. Bad timing, bad press. Not a bad movie. Yeah, I agreed pretty much. So, yeah, it's interesting. They definitely set it up to be for there to be more, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get that. I was kind of expecting
Tommy Anderson.
Ninjago.
That might be why he doesn't know.
That's probably why you don't.
Yeah. Pretty big name in Ninjago, yo.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
learn more about the Ninjago.
Like making the
yo.
show.
So,
But I just got the Ninjago soundtrack today. I thought I was a Ninjago fan.
Then you would know who he is.
I forgot.
Only true Ninjago fans know.
Someone please fill me in. Don't let me wallow in my ignorance.
He just like works on the show, I think.
Oh, that guy.
That's the one.
Anyway, but yeah. So they were setting up Jabba, they're setting up Maul, they're setting up all this other stuff that we're probably not gonna see the end to. So that is where we're currently at now. But I guess like, what would you guys hope to see in the future? Is there anything that this movie is like kind of opened up that would be interesting to see in another movie, or is this just like
Kira being relevant.
Kira being relevant? I mean, it does seem like she was being set up as the villain. So that
I
would
just
be pretty
want
cool.
Evan McGregor Kenobi movie. That's all I
I've heard some
want.
opposition
A
to
General
Evan
Kenobi
to a
movie.
Kenobi movie.
Is his name
Obi-Wan
Evan or
Kenobi. You know it.
something else?
It's like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Ewan.
Obi-Wan.
Ewan McGregor. Okay,
Yeah.
I am off topic / tangent, but I am legitimately looking forward to the Christopher Robin movie.
That is very off topic.
Okay.
That's not even like close to related.
It's Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
Is he? Is he in that
He's
movie?
not in
Yes.
any.
Ewan McGregor plays Christopher Robin.
How old is
I
he?
know, but
What?
like, he doesn't.
It's in the future, man. It's not
Do
like
you?
Oh,
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's not in Han Solo though.
yeah.
No, he isn't.
I didn't.
There's
At
no
all.
Star Wars. In
I
this.
didn't realize
Just
Christopher Robin was an
two.
adult in the Christopher Robin movie.
I didn't even know there was a Christopher Robin movie. What's it even going to be about?
It's
Christopher
about
Robin?
Christopher Robin when he grows up and he has a family.
Huh.
Wait,
Whoa.
is this the same? This is about the real Christopher Robin, right? Not the character.
No, because the Winnie the Pooh
Okay.
characters are in the movie.
What? Wait, isn't there like another Winnie the Pooh movie that's like about the real dude and not like about Winnie the Pooh? Or am I
It's
just like?
not a real.
There might be
was
one
definitely
about.
had a different name.
Oh, well, I could have sworn there was a movie like that was about like the author's
Goodbye,
kid.
Christopher Robin.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, that may be about A.A. Milne and his son, but this one is about the character Christopher Robin when he grows up.
So is this just a coincidence that there's two Christopher Robin movies coming out at the same time? Did they plan that? Is that intentional?
I don't know. I am so confused.
This is the one I'm thinking of. Goodbye, Christopher Robin. It's like an actual like deep, serious movie about like the writer, the author of Winnie the Pooh, and like how the character like affected his life and the kid, and because it's based off like an actual bear.
Teddy bear, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it said it
Yeah.
came out last year.
Okay, that's really strange.
There's-
There's a Christopher Robin movie coming out at the same time that
It's
movie.
part of the Winnie the Pooh cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Little did you know they were setting you up for this.
There's a specific meme. I can't find it. but I find it hilarious because the guy who voices Hondo in Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels is the same guy who voices Winnie the Pooh. So there's a scene in the trailer where Christopher Robin, Ewan McGregor's character, yeah, Jim Cummings, thank you, In and Out Forever, but he like leans over the back of the bench and he's like, Pooh? And then in the meme, he says, hello there. And instead of Pooh, it's Hondo saying, Kenobi! So good of you to join us, or something like that.
Is his name actually
There's also
Hondo?
one with Grievous where...
Hondo. Hando.
That's
His character in Rebels and Clone Wars.
it
Sounds like a ship name.
Yeah, it does.
Hondo Onaka.
It sounds
Hondo,
like
the Han
someone would
Solo
get
and-
out.
Calrissian.
Okay, that one's the wrong one, though, because that's General Grievous.
Yeah, but...
Thank you,
know.
AT. That's
I don't
Hondo.
want to get...
He is one of my favorite characters in Clone Wars and Rebels, just because of the relationship he has with the protagonists.
Hondo. Okay. It sounds like they combined two character names, like Han and like someone else.
Han and Lando.
Lando.
Lando. Hondo. The Han Lando ship character right here.
Now that L3's out of the picture. Dude, I actually had a pretty good laugh the whole scene where L3 insists that like Lando definitely likes her. And then it just like pauses and the Kira's
How
like,
does that work?
how would that work?
Yeah, that's good. I like that scene too. Oh, it works. It's kind of gross though. Dude, I can't get over this freaking Christopher Robin thing. I can't believe there's two Christopher Robin movies. This is really bothering me. It's like the freaking Jungle Book. They're making a Jungle Book movie right now. Like, what's his face?
really?
Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is directing a Jungle Book movie, and it looks just like the freaking Disney
Another
Jungle Book movie.
Jungle Book?
Yeah. So there's like
What the heck?
there's two Jungle Book movies that just came out like in like rapid succession, and they're both telling the same story with a different interpretation. Like, what is going on?
Jungle Book Cinematic Universe.
Are we are we just this out of ideas now? This is bothering me.
This summer, see the same movie twice, done differently.
Yeah, because like I mean, this one is like more serious, I guess. Like it's based off the book, so it's a bit more adult than the Disney one, which is Disney, you know. But like you look at the trailer, and it's like the same movie. It's even got like the same scene with the snake, and it's just like anyway.
Oh, dang.
How bizarre.
This movie looks
People need to
intense.
just-
Like,
Make movies outside their comfort zone. Like I know money is an issue, and you have to cater to certain audiences to get the profit and all that, but there's only so much you can do.
Have you guys
Dang.
seen? There's a Tarzan movie, and I know
Oh,
I'm going
dear.
off tangent on Solo, but Solo's boring, so I'm sorry.
Oh,
Rip Solo. Nothing to see here, fellas. Good movie. It was okay. Like, nothing surprising.
how long has this
Etc.
been going on?
We've been going on for about 40 minutes, I believe.
Oh.
42. Yeah, we still have 15 more minutes. That's why I'm like trying to talk about something else because Solo's boring me.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you guys have anything else to say, just go ahead.
I got nothing.
We pretty much said everything that can be said at this point, I think.
What'd you guys think of the pacing of Solo? I thought it was really weird at the start, like with the whole
Yeah.
his whole intro on Corellia kind of came off a little weird, like the way the timing of the shots and stuff.
I didn't
guess.
really notice anything in particular.
Not
to be
not
honest.
like I don't know. It just kind of seemed weird how it started off, and that he already gets shoved into. Well, he like meets up with Kira, and then they're all in love, and then he gets shoved to whatever his gangster name, like whoever that alien thing is, and they manage to run off. I feel like it was just like
Eh,
executed oddly.
yeah, I thought it was
Kinda-
fine. I didn't really get bothered by it.
I did feel like the start was a little boring. In terms of like the pacing, I do feel like I wasn't quite as attached to Kira and Solo as I probably should have been, given their
I was
separation.
really attached to them.
I mean, they
It's
were
like
kind of,
Yeah.
it's more based on like the concept, I guess, rather than the actual execution.
yeah. Because like I was attached to the concept, but I don't know. I just feel like either I didn't spend enough time with them, or like there wasn't. I don't know. Something didn't connect. I'm not really sure how I would have fixed it personally, but
Yeah, they just got split up really quickly.
yeah. But I feel like it should have either happened sooner or the movie should have been a bit more about their relationship together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You kind of just have to take it as a given at the start. But for me, I didn't really have like that connection because obviously I didn't think of them being together all that much.
Yeah.
Leading up to it.
And a lot of people were saying like how Kira and Han didn't really have any chemistry in a lot of reviews I've seen of it. And I definitely felt that. But at the same time, I felt like they weren't really, at least not after the introduction, once the movie actually starts, they're not really supposed to have any chemistry, you know? They're kind of like, Han is clearly into her, but she's not really into him anymore.
She's had stuff happen.
Yeah, she's got more things to worry about. So I feel like that disconnect is kind of intentional there. It's one of those complaints that I see where I'm like, yeah, but that was intentional. It's part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can kind of see it because I mean I'm sure that probably plays into her decision to stick it with the Crimson Dawn at the end.
Yeah, she wasn't really feeling that whole thing. It might be one of those things where she's like, well, if I leave with Han, then we're definitely both dead.
Yeah,
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I care about you, but not enough to leave.
She killed Jarvis, so.
Man, Vision died a third time this year already.
That guy's
So
getting killed
weird.
off in every movie, man.
He's gonna be the next. Oh gosh, now I've lost the name. Sean
Kenny?
Bean. Is that his name? Sean Bean?
Sean Bean, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that dies and everything. Spoilers.
Time to never watch one of his movies, I guess.
Spoilers for every movie he's ever been in.
Boromir.
Prpl, you've already seen one.
I don't know who Sean Bean is.
Well, he's a gruff kind of.
Sean Bond.
If I showed you a picture, you'd probably recognize. Hold on, let me get a picture of him. Hold on. Sean
Okay.
Bean.
Like, what was some in?
He was in Lord of the Rings.
I didn't watch this. I only watched The Hobbit. Is that a dragon?
I don't know how to say this without spoiling something, but it's the first season, so it's really not a spoiler.
I don't care.
Well, not you, the audience. I know you don't care. We're live streaming to like. Well, there's only like 14 people on YouTube, but.
You're not gonna ruin that many people's days over.
What's
this.
the first
Wait,
season of
spoilers
something that
for
we
what?
watched, Prpl?
What's the what?
The first season of something that we watched. We watched an entire season, and we haven't watched any more since.
Breaking
I'm
Bad?
betting it's something I have never watched, never will watch.
Reign
so-
of Roans.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Frame again?
All
I'm
that
kind of
work.
watching it anyway.
All the work that I did!
All that for
I
trouble.
apologize, everybody who cared about
No, I
that.
don't understand why you're keeping it a secret. Like, how is it
So
a
those
spoiler?
people-
Because it was a big death!
You never said anything about death before.
What? That's the whole point of this conversation, is that Sean
Yeah, the
Bean
point is
dies
that he
in
dies
everything!
and everything.
Oh, yeah!
Oh my
my
god! Oh my...
Oh,
What?
Purple? I don't know if I'll
Purple.
ever hate you right now.
What?
Might be a little of both.
I must have, like, short-term memory loss or something.
Oh, Prentice has a point. I knew there was one I was forgetting, but yeah, Prentice has a point. There's one movie he doesn't die in. National Treasure.
Nice.
Spoilers.
Never seen that one.
I
Oh,
mean, it's a-
spoiler.
it's a Nicolas
now
Cage
it's ruined for me.
movie,
If I
But
now if
For-
I
for
watch it,
those
I know he
tuning
doesn't
in-
die.
For those tuning in for the talk about the Solo movie,
Yeah, you're-
Nicolas Cage.
Listen, man, there's not too much
I like
to talk
I like National Treasure.
I want to like figure out. I want to see
Well,
like a visual
one of us.
representation of how your brain works, Purple. Because I want to see like the cogs kind of turning, and then they just kind of get lodged and stuck, and then rewind, and like try to like undo everything, and then start working again. Just like
Wow.
what is going on? Anyway,
I forget things.
yeah, I noticed. You guys got anything else to say about Solo?
Nope.
They make
He's
great
Han Solo.
cups.
They do make great cups. All right, well, we are at the 50-minute mark, anything else you want to spend your time
Gosh.
talking about?
Just trying to stretch this out the whole hour.
There's this movie.
Unlike any other podcast.
I'm telling you, dude, this is the thing about Solo. This is the thing I don't like about it is that there's
It was a
nothing.
decent movie, but there's
It's a movie.
So did Chewie eat other Wookiees? Were those Wookiees or they're just like another alien race?
No, those are Wookiees.
No, they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
Wookiees. They were
Wookiees?
just really tired looking.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
pretty sure
Some
one of them looked like your mom.
bald-looking Wookiees.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I mean, I was glad that my mom got to act in a movie.
Yeah, your mom's famous now, dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It seemed
dude,
pretty
exactly.
natural, like she didn't even have to act.
Yeah, it reminds me of time in home. Yeah, just getting yelled at and it's more like, "Arr." Okay, Mom, I'll go do my chores. Gosh, don't need to growl.
That
at
was
me.
actually a decent Wookiee.
Yeah,
house.
that was
That
really
was.
good.
That was
That.
pretty good. We now
Nice.
have your new future career, Mange.
Yeah, it's just I take after
For
my
the
mom.
Chewbacca movie. How did Chewbacca wind up in a muddy pit?
Someone
The
get
answers to all the questions you never asked.
someone get like LJ or Meso to join in here. I want them to give us like a rundown of how they think the Han Solo movie would play out, and let's see if they get it right.
Oh, have they neither of them seen it?
No, neither of them have seen it.
Hey, actually, that's a good thing that Eye of the Wolf in the patron chat mentions. What do you guys think of Han Solo being able to speak Wookiee?
That was
Yeah.
neat, I guess.
Didn't surprise
It
me.
was an
I was kind of surprised because nobody ever kind of tries to talk back in Wookiee to him. And he saves his own life by doing it.
I
There,
made
message
a
in the chat. Someone get
diagram.
him in here. Someone get him in here. Make him join.
I made a diagram
For
of
5
how my
minutes.
brain works.
Everyone listening to this recording at Meso, tell him to join real quick. Okay, you have to actually tell him to join. Okay, cool. You can't just add him. This is great. If he doesn't join, I at least got the enjoyment of controlling the chat.
Wow.
All right, freaking in and out.
Rip my
DT,
diagram, I
fight.
guess.
Stop adding me. There we
Hey,
go.
Messa.
Messa.
That's,
Hey, there he is.
What's
The
cracking?
summoning ritual has been completed.
Yes. Hey,
What's-
so we're trying to talk about Solo, but Solo's kind of a boring movie, so we ran out of things to say.
Oh, okay.
So I figured I'd bring you in. I don't know. So do you know the entire premise of the movie, like the entire plot?
More or less, yes,
Dang
I
it.
do.
Okay. Well, that kind of ruins the idea then.
I don't know, like...
Meso, you're no use to us.
I'll
Get
put
out.
it to you this way. I've seen clips, and I know that the premise involves Han. He's on this planet,
Okay,
Corellia.
hold up. Before you do that.
Oh, okay.
All right. Because the reason I
Just
called
to
you
see
in
them.
here was because I was like, let's get LJ or Mesa to join, and let's ask them to do a summary of the movie and see how correct they are.
Okay.
Don't they have a YouTube video like that? Like someone explaining Star Wars as someone who's never seen it? Like they get people to try to explain the story of Star Wars even though
Probably.
they've never seen
That sounds like
Star
a fun
Wars
video.
before.
I'd watch it.
Do you want me to do it anyway? Because I will.
Do it. Yeah. Let's hear let's hear your
So,
take.
it's about Han, who's a rebel with a heart of gold, but he's a criminal, and he just kind of does stuff. There's a heist, and there's probably a lot of generic heist movie stuff that happens where they try to bait the death of characters that you know are going to live because it's a freaking prequel movie.
Okay.
But oh wait, everyone betrays everyone because betrayal and rogues and yeah, suspense. And
Who do you think
then-
portrays who?
Oh, easily Han's girlfriend, because she has to be evil, basically.
So how do you
Whatever
think she
her name
ties
is.
in everything then?
Well, aren't they working for like a criminal syndicate in the
Okay.
movie, or rather, they're trying
You
to
tell
do-
us.
Here, you tell
What?
us. You're the one coming up with the plot here.
Okay, well, I mean, I know certain things.
That's okay. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
They're doing a job for someone, but in the end they try to double cross that someone, but then someone they're working with double crosses them while they're trying to double cross the person that they're trying to double cross. But then oh wait, Han's girlfriend double crosses everyone for Darth Maul. Am I right? Am I right? Crisscross.
I mean,
cross.
I find it interesting that you went from the very beginning of the movie and jumped all the way to the very end of the movie without anything in between.
There doesn't seem to be much of merit that I've heard.
I'm kind of
in
interested.
the
Like, how do you think like it gets to that point though?
I don't really know. I know they do a job, and there's a lot of characters that they just introduce and then immediately kill. Like this monkey guy who's in the movie for like 40 seconds. And like Haymitch's, or whatever his name is from Hunger Games. Yeah, him. He has a love interest who gets introduced and then immediately dies as part of like a train job. And then after that, they need to go steal some fuel. So they shoehorn Lando and this absolutely ludicrous droid rights character who is like borderline parody.
Indeed. I believe she is parody. I don't think she's even borderline. I'm pretty sure they intended her to be parody.
And then isn't there some kind of moral conflict
Yes.
where they're like, oh, we need to use the fuel to help the people of the world.
Who are the people?
Isn't there some group, some other faction like called the Marauders who are just in the movie for like 2 scenes? Am I wrong about this?
Did you know that Han Solo is a great pilot?
Yeah, a little more than 2.
Messa, are you planning on seeing this movie?
The best in the galaxy.
When it's on DVD.
Okay, so you don't care about spoilers at all.
Not really, no.
What if I told you that the Marauders are actually the rebellion?
What? Are you joking?
No. The big mask person is just a little girl.
She's
and
just a little
good
girl.
and stuff.
She works for the rebel.
but they look like a stormtrooper-ish
No, they're not
person.
stormtroopers at all. They're just kids.
Such a good design, though. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the range trooper from the Lego set?
No. The range troopers are during that train
Yeah,
job.
that's something as well that I really feel like is an issue growing with these movies, is that we're just kind of getting one-off variations of stormtroopers that just like do you guys remember the first, not the big shoes stormtrooper, but the one before that was on these like special type speeders? Do you guys remember those stormtroopers at all? They're like barely in the movie.
No.
That's like a brand new variant where they have like new sets, new figures, and like they're barely in the movie at all. And it's like, why did we need another variant of the stormtrooper?
Gotta keep adding.
So answer me this. Is there a scene, because I saw this around, but it might have just been someone memeing about how the movie rips off like A New Hope. But is there a scene where someone talks to Han and is like, "You're so awesome, you could be the general of a rebel alliance"?
Guess who says that? Guess who says that?
That ain't me. Is that the person in the front there?
It's the person in the mask.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So the movie basically plagiarizes his character arc from A New Hope, borderline invalidating it by making him already go through that same conflict.
He was the one that understands my point. Everyone else is like, yes, they do. They validate part of his character.
That's great, dude.
Wow.
Bringing you in was a good idea. Hey, so do you know if LJ's around?
No. To my knowledge, he might still be. If you add him and see, he might come in.
All right, everybody, add LJ.
All right. Everybody go.
There's only a couple minutes left.
There's only a couple minutes left. If he doesn't join, it's fine. But
because I'll be honest, everything I've heard of the movie is it sounds like a dumpster fire of a plot.
No.
But I am typically in circles that really dislike modern Star Wars, so I fully appreciate that there's probably a negative slant there. But it sounds to me like a very illogical plot that goes out of its way to explain things about Han Solo's backstory that don't really need to be explained, while not explaining things that could actually be interesting, like why does he conveniently know Wookiee to save his life? Wouldn't it be interesting?
They don't explain that
Wouldn't it be interesting if he learned Wookiee in this movie because he wanted to be friends with Chewbacca, so he went out of his way to learn a language in the time skip for 3 years? But I don't know. That'd be.
I will say I actually really liked the setup with Chewbacca. How they introduced him into the movie. I thought that
it
was
does sound
good.
cool.
It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I thought you were gonna get like this giant like I don't even know what they call it. It was like the monster from like
Were you
From, like,
thinking of a
Return of the
Rancor?
Jedi.
yeah, Rancor. Yeah, that's what it is.
But nope, he's Chewie.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
had
was cool.
once he was down there, I was like, oh no, I know who this is gonna be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know. I
But
But
prefer
up
the
until that guy, I
original.
didn't think of it.
It looks like
I prefer
LJ's
the
not
original
around,
story
so-
where Han Solo was like raised by Wookiees since he was a kid.
Wait, was that a thing?
Yeah. Before they went and retconned everything, Han Solo was raised by Wookiees.
That's really.
That is the
weird.
dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That is the stupidest thing ever.
Oh, also, have you? I presume you guys have talked about how ludicrous it is for Han motivation to be like he gets forced away from Corellia but he wants to save up or like find a way to get back to the planet and free his girlfriend. Only for his girlfriend 3 years later to turn out to just be where he is by complete coincidence, working with the exact same group
Very
for no
convenient,
reason.
Yep.
Because that's a funny
Yeah,
thing.
it's literally like just that in the movie where like he's just there and
here.
suddenly she's there, like she just kind of pops up and he's like,
Whoa,
"Oh,
what are you doing?
Yeah, that
here?
was-
what's up?"
Kind of lame, to be honest.
It's like when you meet someone at your local Walmart and you're like, oh, fancy running into you here.
It's happened to me numerous
Small
times.
world, huh?
Everyone congregates at
You know,
Walmart.
weirdly enough, that actually has happened to me several times, but specifically only with like teachers from high school.
And then
I
so you
agree.
have your little conversation and then you part ways and then like later on you wind up in the same aisle again and it's so awkward because you already said goodbye to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you end up starting to like get into this big like heist session where you try to like rob whatever store you're in and whatever.
You
So
find
it's
out
like-
you were both there to rob the Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You both work for the same criminal organization trying to rob the Walmart. It happens all the
Oh,
time.
and then I also thought it was freaking funny how like when Darth Maul's at the end talking to what's her name, Kira, right?
Yeah, Kira.
Okay, the video call ends and he like ignites his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then like turns it off.
Turns it
It's
off.
like
Just to
turns it
keep
off.
the trend of there being a lightsaber ignition for every
Omega
single
fan
movie.
service.
He was trying to
Yes.
intimidate her, dude.
But I'm a freaking Darth Maul fan, so I love that scene, and it's the best part of the movie, and it's really cool. So there you go.
Well, I was hoping to get LJ's his rundown of the summary too, but alas, he's not here.
He
so-
probably knows nothing, so his would actually be funny when I could call him.
Try calling him. I want to see if we can get this real quick.
What
Oh,
other
really?
controversial things did you discuss?
we haven't really talked
controversy.
controversy this episode.
How about it being the lowest grossing Star Wars movie ever?
Yeah, I mentioned that, but no one was biting.
I mean, you just what is there to say other than that it's the lowest grossing? Yeah, okay, it's been said. What's there to discuss?
Discuss why. Because
We all know why. Nobody needs to be
Do
told.
we?
Because no one wanted it.
Some people would say it's the fault of this movie. Many would say it's because the fans aren't biting after The Last Jedi, and they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Well, there you go, Messi. You just summed up the whole conversation for us.
Really cheesy. Sue me, I'm trying to help
a
here.
little bit of both, man. A little bit of both.
A little bit.
No, so I appreciate the fact
Just
that
a
you came on
little
here to
bit.
try and be a little entertaining. I like it. You're a
Right.
good dude. Man.
Yeah, you could
Nice.
have put on a show. You could have saved this whole thing. Nobody's
there's
gonna watch
nothing.
this because you weren't there till the end.
Yeah.
No, you guys were fine. I'm not saying you weren't entertaining. I'm just saying this
For
movie
everything
sounded
I hear,
entertaining.
it sounds like probably the best of the modern Star Wars films, at least in pure enjoyment. Although I'm a sucker for The Force Awakens because I don't
I like
really
The Force
care that it's a
Awakens.
New Hope ripoff. It was cool. I like the characters there, but I like that Solo has some redeeming stuff to it. It was great. The things that just really gripe me, we kind of talked about it in chat the other day, and it's not a huge deal. Like Var, you mentioned a few things, like the name thing could have been cool. It's just so funny to me how they shoehorn in certain elements of his backstory that like I really didn't need. Like
Yeah.
his gun, his cool iconic gun. Some dude just makes it and just gives it to him, and like there's no significance, behind it. His name, some random Empire dude just gives it to him. Chewbacca, his iconic ammo belt, he finds it on the floor, and he just puts it on for no reason.
It is.
Well, why would there need to be a giant significance
I
behind
mean-
an
There
ammo
doesn't.
belt.
That's
It's
the
an ammo
thing.
belt.
There's
It's
no
not-
significance to it. But
We
it's
don't
the whole thing
need-
is giving these gratuitous audience wings.
Yeah, no. The problem
We don't
with
need
it,
a huge, elaborate, tear-jerking scene just for every time someone, a piece of toilet paper gets used or something.
Yes, no, you're right, but the problem isn't that it isn't so much that we needed like an explanation for everything. The problem is that it's just kind of strange that all these iconic things that are big
They're not.
benchmarks of these characters just all kind of establish themselves at the same time during the same event.
Dice. My problem is the filmmakers decide to focus on them. It's like there's little substance to the movie, so we just have to pack in as many audience winks as possible within a 2-hour time frame. And there's a lot of the other stuff too, with all the references and gratuitous name drops. They practically pull from every single conversation or line that Han Solo said in the original movies to make a reference out of. There's even a reference to Minox,
Yeah,
that little
that is
creature
true.
that he had like a one-line thing of in, I think, Empire. The monkey guy says like, "Oh, I went to a Minox roast." This is great. It's like they're just pulling from everything. Even when it doesn't make sense, like with Darth Maul, which I find is a bold move, and I'm really curious what they're going to do with that.
Nothing, because there's not going to be a sequel.
Absolutely nothing.
They set it up. They will
They
pay
set it up,
off.
but it's not going to
Mark
happen
my
because there's no
words.
money.
Yeah. I find it really cool. I see a lot of people going like this effectively invalidates Marvel's excuse for not including TV characters in the movies for fear of confusing the audience. Because the only reason you'd know Darth Maul is alive is because of cartoon TV shows.
Yeah,
It's
but
this
the
is a
audience
big
is
move.
confused though.
Yeah, they are, but they buy it. All it takes is a Google search. I didn't know who freaking Thanos was at the end of the Avengers post-credits scene, so I Googled it. It's like, no, that's who Thanos
Fair
is.
enough, that's true.
That noble villain. Her kids have Google. They have their freaking phones with them after the movie's over. But, yeah, you're right. There won't be a sequel
Yeah.
directly. I hadn't considered the fact that the box office would probably negate those plans.
Yeah. Anyway, well,
Bummer.
thank you for joining us, Meso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're at the hour mark, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for giving us your thoughts. Thank you,
No
everybody,
problem.
for joining this session and listening into our discussion about Solo. If you want to support our channel, help us continue making videos like this one, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel. We are only, I think 5 patrons away from bringing back the TTV shirts. We're almost at that stretch goal.
Yay.
We're
Question
almost
about
there.
that. Do we have to maintain the same number of...
No.
Okay.
Once we hit the number, they're back. You can
10 patrons away.
you can join Patreon and then just completely stop being a patron for the next month, and it won't matter. We'll bring the shirts back. So, but yeah, so we're really close to that. So if anybody's interested in helping support the channel and they want another shot at getting those shirts, right there on Patreon, our first stretch goal. It's pretty cool. Our patron shout out for this week goes to. I like this name. Muircat.
Oh, yeah, Muircat.
Thank you, Muircat, for being a patron shout out. Or for
Yes.
being a patron, not a patron shout out. Let's
No,
do another one.
probably
Eye of the
just
Wolf.
mostly
I'm going to shout you out too because you're actually here and you're new. I recognize that name. So
Eye of the Wolf!
you get a shout out too. Let's shout out In and Out Forever too. I know it's not your actual name.
In-N-Out's okay.
Culver's is
Five
better.
Guys is better.
Lies.
Culver's for life.
Lies.
Culver's for life. All right, guys. We'll see you all next time.
We have to end this podcast with a synchronized rendition of I'm Solo. I'll go first. I'm Solo. I'm Solo. I'm Solo.
Should we do this
I'm
after we say our
Solo,
names first?
Solo. All right, yeah.
I am so out of here.
I'm
Our
Var.
last person needs to start us off by saying, "And I'm Han Solo."
Yeah, you're right.
Last. I joined last.
All right, so I'm Var.
I'm Takuma.
I'm Prpl.
I'm Invi.
I'm XX Trooper.
I'm Meso. I'm Meso. I'm Meso. Meso.
You're
Meso.
supposed to say we can't sing along to I'm Meso. None of us are Meso.
Yeah,
I'm Solo.
we're not Meso.
I'm Solo.
I'm
Solo.
heading to bed.
I'm Solo.
Good night,
anymore.
X. We'll let you leave. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us.
See you guys later.
Bye.
No job at an answer.
I woke up for
Not a
this.
picture in the palace zoo.
All right, you can
Oh.
stop now.
Now the carbon lights off me. I'm living life now that I'm free.
Mute him.
Do you know
Yeah,
the lyrics to this
lyrics.
song?
Now I got myself together.
How often
He
do
needed
you
to.
sing
For
this?
Ira.
Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better.
All right, anyway,
I'm
bye,
so
everybody.
happy.
Bye.
The carbon night is gone.
Bye.
Moving.